Oh, fuck.
I actually do that. And in my Perl, you can add those any way you want. So what I do is when I run it through, I actually come out with how many errors are on the error case. That comes out as a term in the field. Yeah. And then I get to make, pattern matches on it. So I can actually say, 3 uppercase, 2 lowercase, you can get down to 3. And so I actually wrote it so that you can add that. But that's really what I wanted. That's what I thought. Yes, that's what I expected to be doing.
We've been dividing it up. So I will.
This next talk is Baked Not Fired. It's an unauthorized phishing exercise by Syn Phishus.
So, Syn Phishus, you probably get Sid Vicious based on the album cover. Sid is kind of a hero to me, and I try to model my life after Sid's. So we begin with the manifesto, the BOLLOCKS. For those of you who don't know, BOLLOCKS is a British term, slang for testicles, so this is kind of like the balls. And this is straight out of Sid's mouth, except I actually put bullet points there. But then I thought, well, Sid wouldn't use normal bullets if he was given a PowerPoint. So I made up some bullets there. But you get the basic idea. Most importantly, don't let them take you alive. That's critical there. But then, maybe not. It turns out that Sid was taken alive. He might not have brain cells left at the moment in time, but he was taken alive. So you have to step back and say, well, maybe being a complete and total kill everything radical isn't the way to go. But, sometimes something happens and you feel like you got to do something. Why is it? What happens? In my case, I sort of broke down kind of like HAL 9000 did. I tried to do the right thing, but management wasn't sort of doing the right thing, and things got sort of lost and my circuitry got crossed. And for want of a better description, I developed neurotic symptoms. So let's talk about the conflict first. I worked for a company that had a small security group in part of a large, several tens of thousands of employees company. The company overall had a very good security policy, but it didn't enforce it and had really rather poor security awareness and practices around the whole security policy. And of course, HR loses a CD with all social security numbers of all employees, all dependents, and anybody who was ever in the retirement program. Now, again, the policy said this was supposed to be encrypted. And there was actually a training, security awareness campaign that said, hey, make sure you always encrypt this stuff, but HR didn't care. We had also, for years, been requesting that when any kind of formal announcement was coming from the administration, that they would digitally sign them. We had a key system, private PKI, but 99% of everybody's email clients would have registered correctly that the thing was signed. It was trivial to implement this last part, but they didn't want it. So they never fixed the HR problem as far as going through and doing a bigger assessment to find out if there was any other issues. Of course, they fixed the one problem with the one CD transfer, and they didn't do anything about preventing us from being exploited by phishing attacks overall. So, what goes through my mind? Well, normal communication, trying to work through the channels, isn't effective, so I've got to try harder to make the point. And that's how I came about by doing a NEUROSIS, doing an unauthorized phishing awareness campaign to show them how potentially damaging phishing could be within the organization. So I created an email. The idea was to create an email to announce the identity theft insurance vendor that they, of course, promised they were going to sign us all up for. They said it would be 6 to 8 weeks before they tell us, and so that gave me a little bit of time there to get this all worked out. And then I create a phishing website, and people come and they give me the information. And then I thought, well, while I'm going ahead and collecting information, I'll go ahead and get their intranet logons too, because that shows not only that the people giving up their own information, but that should be a little bit more important for the corporate minds thinking, oh, now they're risking our information. They may not care about all the individual's information, but they should certainly care about their corporate secrets. So in doing this, I set out some goals for myself to make it look like this was really a positive thing that I was doing. Raise security awareness, yeah, that's a good thing. Demonstrate the policy is no good without testing, because heck, we had the policy, they never checked. I thought, hey, we could use this as a marketing tool. We could create this branded security awareness process, and we could either give it or sell it to our customers, and our customers would use it to do their own phishing awareness campaigns within their own organizations, and it would have our brand on it. That would be good advertising. This company made security products as well as offered security services, and nobody really thought of them as a security company. So that'd be like a cool brand thing. And so those are my main goals, is that we'd end up with something like that. It didn't work out that way, but that wasn't my fault. From a principal's perspective, I thought it was important that only I take on risk in this situation. And it was my harebrained idea. I really didn't want someone else to go down with me, so I had to get it all worked out myself, so I really didn't need help from anybody else. I wanted to make it easy as possible for some of my friends that were in the corporate IT security group to figure out what was going on when this actually happened, because, their lives, they're always really busy. They've got too much work. They've laid off too many staff in that group. And really, I didn't want them to stress out and have to spend a lot of time to figure this out. So I tried to document as much as possible, and also give them the ability to shut it down without getting in touch with me, just to make their lives easier. I thought that would be a good thing to do. I knew I might get fired, but I didn't want to get prosecuted. I wanted to set it up so that if it came down to they were going to get rid of me and take legal action, it was going to be pretty obvious that I had no malicious intent, that I wasn't trying to steal people's passwords, that I wasn't really trying to collect people's sensitive information, that what I was trying to do was do the security awareness. And so it may not be that it would have held up in a court of law, but I was kind of hoping that I'd create enough evidence of that so that it wouldn't even get that far. The corporate lawyers would say, hey, we really don't have enough of a case. This is annoying. Get out of my face. So how did you go about doing that? Well, first part, I had to do DNS because I was going to have a phishing website that they go to. I registered the domain in my own personal name. That should be easy enough, right? Most people who are doing phishing don't register their domain names in their own name. I created then a subdomain using my company's name in that, so it was actually my company dot secure my company.securemyinfo, securemy.info. And then I used a CNAME record because I had within the corporate DNS, I was able to do it, such as use a CNAME. You could use an A record with a stable IP address. A lot of times with DHCP, you're going to keep the address for a while, so you could do that. You could probably set it all up ahead of time. In this particular case, when I had a VPN connection into the corporate network, it gave me a domain name that was always consistent, and that now I was able to use a CNAME record. And that also gave me giving the corporate IT group ability to kill the connection. All they had to do was kill my VPN connection. And then they would have been able to kill the whole session and shut down the web server. Turns out that they didn't sort of figure that part out, and it might have not been trivial for them to do that, but I didn't know that ahead of time. On the mail side, it's usually pretty easy in an internal environment to find an SMTP forwarder for you. that'll dump all the mail into the central mail system. Most Exchange servers are listening on port 25. And most of the time you don't have corporate firewalls blocking. There's also a lot of other servers that are probably able to do the same thing. I decided not to do it like a telnet to port 25 and send my file up. I wanted to be